Okay, so this is actually problem 318 from my book, which is actually version 1. Sam, does this match the numbers from version 2?
Yes.
Okay, so this works in version 1 and 2. Perfect. All right, so what we want to do is we want to find out x comma y. Basically, we want to know what x comma y is. And we have these two different triangles, so we have to do it piece by piece. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a line straight down here, and I'm going to find out what the xy of P1 is. So we'll call this x1 comma y1. Okay. And we know that theta 1 is 30 degrees for B. So let's do B first. And we have theta 1 is 30 degrees. And what we need to do is find, and we know that L1 is 5. So this is equal to 5 centimeters. This is 30 degrees. This is a right triangle that I just made. And now we should be able to find out the x and y values. To find the x and y values, we can just take the sine and the cosine of the same thing. So if I say the sine of 30 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is, here, let me label it. I'm going to call this my y1 and this my x1. So it's going to equal y1 divided by 5, or y1 is equal to 5 times the sine of 30 degrees. And the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. So y1 equals 5/2. Perfect. Now we want to find x1. And x1 is always the x and cosine go together, sine and y go together. So I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I don't need to do all the formula stuff because I think that you can see how I would do it. And this would just be 5 times the cosine of 30 degrees. And the cosine of 30 degrees is the square root of 3/2. So this is 5 times the square root of 3/2, which is a perfectly fine answer. Okay. So I now found how far I've gone in the x direction and how far I've gone in the y direction. And if that was the end of the problem, then I'd be done, but it's not. So what I want to do is I'm going to erase this and this and this, because I don't really need any of it for part 2. So now part 2, we have, which is kind of weird. So because it's not actually giving me my x and y. Because what I really want to find out, let me see if I can explain this. Let me get a different color. What I really want to find is the added distance I'm going. Actually, hold on. That's not exactly what I want to find either. So hold on one sec. Okay, so here's where things get a little different. First, we want to remember that we said that this is 30 degrees. And since that's 30 degrees, that would make this 60 degrees, because the first thing I did is I made that a right triangle. And then instead of L2 going the way it's going, maybe I should draw another picture. Actually, I think probably I should. So here's my original triangle with L1. Here is P1. And remember, this continues on. So if this is 30, this angle right here is 60, which makes this, so what up, okay, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I can explain it properly. Because this is going, theta 2 is going negative 45 degrees, it's actually coming down this way. We don't know to where. That's what we're trying to find, is this X. I'm going to call this X2, comma, Y2. And wherever that lands after I go down, I already know this is still 5 centimeters. And I can make a right triangle right here. Now, what do I know? Well, I know that that's 60 degrees. And I know that, here, let me get a different color. I know that this angle right here is theta sub 2, which is 45 degrees. So I know 60 degrees, I know 45 degrees. I want to find out what this is. And I know that the entire, the amount of degrees of a straight line is 180. So it would be, so here, let me see. I wish I had a bigger picture. So basically this angle here, which is this angle here, I'll color it in, is going to be 180 minus 60 minus 45, which is going to give me that angle in that triangle. And I'm going to now make a triangle outside. I'm going to take that triangle and I'm going to put it right here. And there's my right triangle. And I know that, so 180 minus 60 is 120, 120 minus 45 is 75 degrees. So this angle here is 75 degrees. This is a right triangle. This is 15 degrees. And now I can find my X and Y. So let's go back to blue. I can say that Y2 is equal to, and I know also that the length of this is 5 centimeters. So Y2 is going to be this height. X2 is going to be the length of that base. And I can say Y2 is equal to the sine of 15 degrees. And the sine is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So I would divide by 5. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. So I get 5 sine of 15 degrees equals Y2. Okay, now I definitely need a calculator. This is not one of our points that we have memorized. So let's do it. 15 degrees sine times 5 equals. So Y2 equals 1.2. Let's just make it 1.3 because we don't need that much precision, I don't think. So we'll make it 1.3. Okay, and then X2, exactly the same way, I'm going to say 5 times the cosine of 15 degrees, which is equal to 4.83, I'll just 4.8. Okay, so now I know if I were to redraw this whole thing, which I'm not going to do right now.
Question.
Yes, please.
Do you have to add or subtract those from the original points to get the new point?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing we have to do, let me see, let me get, I'll use black and I'm going to write on the sides. So what we're trying to do is first we have to know the X value of this, right? This is X1. And then we have to add that, which is X2. Because they're both going in the positive direction, we're going to add them together, right? So X from P of XY is going to equal X1 plus X2, which is going to equal X1 is 5 times the square root of 3/2 plus X2, which is 4.8. And I'll get a decimal value for the whole thing. Hold on. So 3 times 5, 2 plus 4.8. So I get 9.1. And I'm really rounding a lot. So this is 9.1 and this is centimeters. That's my X value. Now my Y value is going to actually equal Y1, because remember Y1 was going up. And if we look at our picture, I'm going to erase some of the things I drew here. Because I wanted to show you the picture without all the numbers on it. So we can see that Y is going in the negative direction, which should make sense because actually this is, well, it doesn't matter. It's going in the negative direction, so I'm going to have to subtract my Y2 value from Y1 because Y1 went up, but Y2 goes down, so I have to take the difference. So that would equal 5/2 or 2.5 minus 1.3, which is equal to 1.2 centimeters. So that means my X comma Y is, from what I calculated, 9.1 comma 1.2. And that concludes B.